Thank you, Sam. We're all really lucky to be here. And we're grateful to Monsignor Sanchez-Sorondo for this joy. And we're inspired by you and inspired by Pope Francis. And you give us a tremendous impetus to move forward. For those of you who haven't been in this room before, I like always to start out by emphasizing the uniqueness of this place. Not only is it gorgeous, obviously, and extremely special, and the feeling and the ambiance is special, but this is a unique institution in the world. There's no other like the Pontifical Academy of Sciences and the Pontifical Academy of Social Sciences, because it's the only institution of this nature and stature which brings together the worlds of rigorous science and the worlds of faith, and the combination of faith and reason that we need to make the world whole and the world work. Faith can mean many things. Of course, it can mean one's inner beliefs and one's religious convictions. I think fundamentally for everybody, faith means that one can hope for goodness, that one can believe in justice, and that one can feel the need and value to defend human dignity and to work for human dignity. Science doesn't have those values per se. Science is an understanding of the physical processes of the earth, but combining science with the belief in justice, the belief in hope, the belief that the peacemakers are the children of God and that the meek shall inherit the world, that's something special. That is what makes it possible for us to envision the future we want, as we say at the United Nations. That plaque up in the upper right-hand corner, if you dust off your Latin, says that the Pontifical Academy of Sciences was founded in 1603 in what was called the Academy of the Lynxes. It had good progenitors, Galileo Galilei, perhaps the first great modern scientist, the inventor of modern science, was one of the founders. We're in a very good place and in a very wonderful, important place. We're very privileged. It's really what comes in this room's deliberations really changed the world, and that's extraordinary. When the Sustainable Development Goals were adopted, remember that Pope Francis gave the opening speech that day. Pope Francis spoke to the world leaders on the morning of September 25th, 2015, and as he did in Laudato Si, called on the world leaders to have a common plan for our common home. That is the essential message. He says that our interdependence obliges us to think in a common home. Not America first, humanity first. And this is really the essence of what the Sustainable Development Goals are about, that for all humanity, we need to aspire to the Beatitudes, to happiness, to human well-being, and as the United Nations wisely says, to leave no one behind. That's quite a challenge, and I'm thrilled that you are leaders of it. Believe me, you are the leaders of it, because my generation is not the leaders of it, unfortunately. They sign the document, but they don't feel it necessarily. And we don't have the energy yet to achieve these goals. We don't have the breakthrough yet. And we need you to help figure out how to do that. We have a lot of remarkable people in this room, you guys, and you can make a profound difference. I remember a few years ago, a very impressive young guy gave me a call and said, I want to end poverty. And I thought, that's cool. And he said, we're going to have a meeting in Hugh Jackman's house. I said, that's even cooler. If even cooler than ending poverty. And Hugh Evans, who's here, who you'll hear from, is exhibit A of how you can change the world through a lot of genius and a lot of energy, because Hugh created Global Citizen and his colleagues here. That has a reach that's global. That's what we're going to talk about today, of how together, of course with the church in the lead and with our backing the Sustainable Development Goals, with the Sustainable Development Solutions Network, with SDSN Youth, with Global Citizen, with Move Humanity, which you'll hear about shortly, how we can make a truly global movement of decency that engages millions and then billions of people. It's possible. In many ways, it's happening. The problem is only one of time, and sometimes the dangers and nastiness that those who are not on this agenda are causing us. The world is not safe. It is not sustainable. We're not solving the problems fast enough. There are a lot of nasty people around, often in government. That means they have power, and power can be extraordinarily destructive as well as constructive if properly used. So we're not here to celebrate, we're here to contemplate and to strategize, to think about how we can do even better, do more, engage more, use social technologies, digital technologies more effectively, reach more people, call those who can mobilize more people even more effectively. I'm going to be running in and out all day. I apologize in advance, but I'm having the opportunity today to also meet a number of people in Rome, so I'll be coming in and out, but I will be trying to catch up and stay current with all of the brainstorming. But I want to thank all of you for being here. You're here because you're already doing extraordinary things, but you need to do more. And the only way to do more is to do it together. This is the only way we're going to succeed, is if we out-organize, if we get even more attention. And I think, at least for me, Hugh, this is one of the most important things, is attention. We're battling for attention. We're battling for space. If you look up almost any website, Trump is the first 12 items on the websites in the United States. He believes any publicity is good publicity. It's a psychological problem that he taps into that we know. We need to get into that space. We need the attention, not to lose time with this kind of nonsense and vileness, but actually to get the attention for all of the positive things that can be done, all of the responsibility and accountability we need, all of the ingenuity that we can muster. By the way, I'll just give one tiny example and then I'll stop. We were with DeepMind a few days ago, which is Google's artificial intelligence company. Really brilliant people. My wife and I were, we figured we were 3 times older than the next oldest person in the place. It seemed like you had to be 18 or younger to be at DeepMind because, you know, that's the only people that really understand this technology. But in any event, just as an example of attention, in our discussions, we discussed the fact that Google gets every day 2 complete satellite readings of every spot on the planet. So with remote sensing, we could know every day where is deforestation, where is illegal fishing, where is pollution. And this is what we need for our attention, actually, in a way, because we can't have the SDGs once a year or once every 3 years or once every 4 years discussed and expect the world to change. We need to be holding those who are irresponsible accountable. We need to be praising those who are doing the right things, and we need to be drawing attention to the SDGs and to decency, justice, fairness, ending war on a daily basis. And so this is part of the brainstorming that I would like to encourage. What can we do to raise the consciousness and keep it as a central focus? And I think you guys will know a lot about how to do that. And I want us to complete the brainstorming today and in the coming days with a plan, with an action agenda. I know Global Citizen has many ideas, Move Humanity. The church will be hosting a gathering of millions of young people in January that we will engage. We have a year till the 170 or so world leaders gather to consider the Sustainable Development Goals. How can we hold them accountable for their gathering in September 2019 at the United Nations? So we have some markers on the calendar that we can use. So enough said, and thanks to all of you for being here. And again, thanks to Monsignor Marcelo Sanchez Sorondo for having us.